White people are less likely to be arrested than African Americans. They are less likely to go to prison when convicted of the very same crime. Children who grow up in poor neighborhoods are 28% less likely to finish high school and 84% less likely to obtain a college degree. Building Opportunities for Self-Sufficiency, or BOSS, believes that your destiny shouldn't be determined by your zip code, nor the color of your skin. Based in Alameda County, California, they fight against the root causes of poverty and homelessness to achieve greater social equity for all.
You shouldn't be designated by your zip code or your race in terms of your position in life or your destination in life.
There's a huge piece of being consistently told that you have little to no value. It disempowers you.
BOSS stands for Building Opportunities for Self-Sufficiency.
The mission of BOSS is to help those people who are the most desperate in our community find a path forward and make a contribution to our community.
And so that can be kind of scary.
So that means helping them overcome their short-term barriers like housing, but also overcoming what got them there. Could be medical issues, could be drugs.
The people that we serve primarily are homeless. They're returning from jail or prison. They may have a mental health diagnosis. I would say 100% are living in poverty.
Let me see the handshake. How you doing? Right now.
From our perspective, it's about respect and love, having a sense of belonging and feeling safe. BOSS is based in Alameda County, and we are in Berkeley, Oakland, Hayward. I just expanded a partnership with an organization called La Familia to Fremont and Livermore with our employment services. We have approximately 30 different programs in regard to housing, community violence, and criminal justice programming, employment, the mental health and substance use. We have a 25-bed shelter in Oakland, a 25-bed shelter in Hayward. Both of those serve 100% mentally disabled individuals.
There's a major homeless problem all through California, especially in the Bay Area, because the housing prices are so high.
The dark side of a technology boom is that it's created a whole subpopulation of folks who make a lot of money and can afford to pay really high rents, and they drive out lower rents.
When I was doing outreach as an advocate under the freeway, the people had been living there for so long, they were making it comfortable. They had small homes, a cooking area, they had a bathroom situation. And Caltrans came through and bulldozed the whole situation. And they were just pushed out to the sidewalk. But there was no support. Okay, well, we're gonna help you get into this program. Here's a resource. There was nothing. That's what keeps happening. People keep getting pushed out from wherever they can find a safe, comfortable space to stay.
Tell people they have to move, they have to have a place to go. And the logical place to go is a shelter like Casa Maria, where we can help people, we can feed them, get them off the street, put them in a safe place, give them the resources they need, the medical attention, whatever, to get back on their feet. And they don't have to go under a bridge because they're living here.
Casa Maria is a combination of a shelter and a transitional housing program. Our role or our contract with Alameda County is to take people who are referred to us, who are at a level 1 or level 2 mental health diagnosis, who have been homeless, and we work with them. We provide them a safe, stable, secure, nurturing environment for them to work on primarily getting into permanent housing, but also to address any issues that they may be facing that keeps them in the cycle of homelessness.
I lived in the abandoned building off of Foothill in the dark by myself, listening to all kind of screaming and probably murdering or whatever went on in the dark in that building off of Foothill. Also stayed in a cabin in the bushes in a tent where I had to pee or boo-boo on the top of a mop bucket with a tire tube on it and seats. Oh God. Only way I survived living out on the streets was smelling like pee all the time.
I just was outside. I was real. And I'm like, how did I deal with that? In a tent. How do you sleep? If you ain't high up, you want to be high.
A lot of times in the encampments, there's a lot of drug use, unfortunately, because it's a stressful environment, so it makes sense people are coping through substance use. And so that has been a really big safety piece. When people are using substances, they can overdose. It also makes them more susceptible for other forms of trauma and abuse. So we want to put in those supports to be able to motivate them to know that they can do better and be better and move forward in their life and not have to be stuck in this homeless encampment.
I don't have to worry about where I'm gonna take a shower. You know, I'm away from the domestic violence. You know, it doesn't come to me. I have to go to it. And I'm right now fighting that with the help of being here.
I wasn't going to be another statistic.
BOSS was started in the 70s. It was during the time when Ronald Reagan was governor of the state of California, and he closed the mental health facilities in the state, which rendered folks in the facilities homeless. Ursula Sherman, who is the founder of BOSS, she started taking people in and started the organization in Berkeley. From a social justice perspective, if the question is like, how did I become who I am? I was born in Chicago in the Cabrini Green housing projects. It was a very violent arena. My mother's father was actually born into slavery in 1857. My mother was, in her own way, this kind of youth development genius. She would tell me these stories about some stories that her father would tell her, and they were all around kind of these motivational stories and self-determination stories. BOSS has had a history, a very deep history of community organizing. When I was hired in 2013, we continued the community organizing concept, but we thought we needed to take an environmental assessment of the community in which we're serving.
Some days in the studio.
There were 3 areas that were important to us. Mass homelessness, of course, which is our primary mission. Then mass incarceration and community violence. Then we said, okay, how do we then work with our legislators and administrators in terms of giving them the information that they need to make better decisions around the people that we serve? And case in point, there's 4,800 barriers in the state of California that would prevent someone with a criminal justice background from advancing in their life.
Formerly incarcerated individuals are subjected to not being able to become a real estate agent, not being able to become a barber, not being able to become hazmat certified.
So it's a lot easier having your check card around, shutting that down.
Even if you did 20 years and then you turn around and you're like, okay, well, I want to better my life. They don't see that. And they judge you based off of what your record says. They don't see, oh, she's a mom and has 2 kids, or, she's been going to school for this many years and she
She's really fighting to get her life back on track. When you come home from prison and you want to walk that narrow path and you want to be on the right path, it's hard because you go apply for these jobs and like, oh, you have this on your record and it's holding you back. So, or you don't get those phone calls. Sometimes it kind of drives you back into that lifestyle that you used to live.
All right, I walk into UPS and my supervisor asked me to work an extra shift. I'm tired, I have plans. How do I respond?
We recognize that there are barriers, but recognizing what those barriers are, identifying them, figuring out ways around them or over them or through them, however that looks, really is a powerful tool. The mission, very, very plainly, is to support our participants in their career pursuits. As opposed to looking for a job, we want to train them for a career. What we don't want to have happen is a participant come through us, we support them in getting a job. 6 months later or a year later, they lose that job and then they're back in the same position to where, you know, they either have to turn to the streets or some other things.
Okay, so can you open the original? So you want this to stand out, so this will be bold.
We offer a number of services here on site. You know, we offer resume development, which is a huge barrier for a lot of our participants because some participants come to us without any computer skills or training. We work with our participants to identify the nature, the type of jobs that they would like to do. And then we partner with companies in order to get them training and or employment.
Hi, good morning. Good, and you? Today is the first day of my internship, so I am excited to learn some new things today with Jacqueline. We've met prior to this. This is the first day I'll be working with her. So
yeah, we're excited to have her and the extra hands.
I am excited. A little bit nervous, but mostly excited.
Just a little bit nervous. It's gonna be all right.
First day jitters.
Yes. It's gonna be all right though.
I gave birth to my last child incarcerated. I want to do something different in my life. I want to be positive. I want a career. I want to raise my kids. I don't want to raise my kids from prison. I don't want them to come visit me. I don't want them to end up thinking, okay, this is what mom do, so this is what I'm going to do. I want to be a better example in their life.
This business is not for the faint at heart. The challenge is when you see the level of devastated lives that are in need, and to really press our political leaders, our administrative leaders, the community, our business leaders. How do we form community around this issue? How do we not just name call people in terms of the haves and the have-nots?
We have this saying around here, hurt people hurt people. That's how pain patterns are passed on generations after generations. But love is the weapon of the future.
I'd like to introduce BOSS's Career Training and Employment Centers, graduating class.
Our program where we deal with prisoners that have been incarcerated coming out of prison. We celebrate their success through a graduation that we have twice a year.
My graduation, we graduated 11 individuals. I was the valedictorian, and I simply spoke truth to power. It begins with self. Self-accountability, self-responsibility. And when you take the onus upon yourself, you eliminate excuses. Once you've eliminated the excuses, you find your supporters and your resources. What we're doing here at BOSS is changing lives.
BOSS recognizes that certain legislative policies negatively impact the people they serve and create dependency instead of self-sufficiency. In response, BOSS continues to develop solutions and to advocate for policy reform addressing mass incarceration and mass homelessness.